Okay, we'll call the Pownal Select Board meeting to order on Thursday, June 12th, 2014 at 7 p.m. For the agenda approval of the minutes of 6/5/14, warrants, mail. Under old business, we got lawn mowing, our dump truck contract, personnel, cemetery work, and office repair. Under new business, we have insurance quotes opening and VLCT to present the town insurance information.
So moved.
Second it.
Anything else to be added? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of 6/5/14.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on those? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't here. Warrants. They dump them all over the place. Okay, payroll ending 6/13/14 in the amount of $7,252.45. That was for the pay period 6/08 through 6/13. Accounts payable through 6/13 through 14 through, for the, up to 6/13/14 for the accounts payable. And it's $7,793.72. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion.
Second it.
Any discussion on any of them? All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Mail. We have a brochure that says we'll take your paint. Drop-off event for anyone in Vermont, Saturday, June 21st, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Location municipal parking lot, 205 South Street, Bennington, Vermont. What paint products can you bring? Acceptable containers must have original labels. This is in the following products only: house paint, primers, latex, oil-based, stains, deck and concrete sealers, clear finishes, varnishes, and shellac. Not acceptable: no leaking, unlabeled, or empty containers. No aerosol spray paints. No drums or containers larger than 5 gallons. We cannot accept other hazardous waste or chemicals such as paint thinners, solvents, motor oil, spackle, glue, adhesive, roofing tar, pesticide, and cleaning chemicals. So again, the acceptable things are house paint and primers, stains, deck and concrete sealers, and clear finishes. And it's on Saturday, June 21st, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the municipal parking lot at 205 South Street, Bennington, Vermont. So if you have old paint you wish to get rid of, place to go. We have to the listers where we had requested a 30-day extension. The extension of 30 days is hereby granted and applies to all acts mentioned in 32 VSA 4341. The requirement of 32 VSA 5404 for transmission to the director are not extended. The grand list book in 411 must still be transmitted to the director on or before August 15th. So we got one extension, and the other they have to make sure they send up there. We have a letter from a citizen that lives up on, I think, Montgomery Road,
Yes.
who has voiced concerns both about ATV use and about fireworks use. Has the board had a chance to look at these?
I got a copy.
Okay. What's the pleasure with the board in dealing with this? Any recommendations?
Well, I personally contacted our constable last night. Actually, I called him the day before, and he didn't get back to me till last night, and had a brief discussion about this. He's been up there numerous times. It's from what I understand, it's very hard to enforce fireworks because the state's attorney will not. So I'm told the state's attorney will not prosecute on that. The ATV issue, I've got them in my neighborhood. I think everybody's got ATVs around their neighborhood, etc. I don't think unless we have some stronger enforcement from outside. The state police has been called. I don't know. What do you do with it? Has anybody else got any other ideas?
I think that, as far as, these issues here, I mean, the constable was elected and I mean, he's looking into it and I'm sure that, I believe he has made numerous calls there, or, stops there. So, and I believe the state police have been there. So this isn't no one has, ignored the problem. And I'm sure that, when the appropriate time comes, it will get solved. I mean, by the law enforcement,
Okay, I spoke,
one or the other. I believe that. So, okay,
anybody else anything?
Just one other thing, and this goes to all citizens. If you're going to write letters like this and send them out to the selectmen, it would be nice to include your phone number because I tried to contact that person. I didn't see it up there, so but just include your phone number on all
Okay,
letters.
well, this person caught me on the phone Sunday here when I
Okay.
was doing other things. Her concern with the fireworks, I haven't spoken to her about as much as the ATV use. She's actually says there's some very courteous drivers up there, and it's not that she wanted to ban ATV use. What she was concerned about is the ones that run with no mufflers and have no courtesy whatsoever. They seem to be drunk or other things, and I think you're right, Henry. I think the state police needs to handle those people or constable if they're drunk and driving these things.
and I believe they will. I mean.
Yeah, they gotta catch them in the act.
I think that it's, I mean, it's not our per se job, but.
Well, they got to catch them in the act is part of the
and,
thing.
And that's right.
And I had told her I'd come up that day, but there was nobody driving that day. The key is that I think most people are tolerant of some of this. It's the people that are unruly. At one point, we had a club that was interested in coming to the board, and we actually, I think, set up some trail roads and stuff. And they wanted to actually have more access around town. But what we were looking for was this club to sort of take charge, train riders, and do some things like that. And I don't know where that stands these days, but that's another approach that could occur so we get better skills on these ATVs or people that have better habits than what they have today. Because usually when you belong to a club or something, that changes things. So if there was a club out there that's interested, I'd be interested in the town working with them and maybe even designating, we do designate some roads already, but we could do some things that might even help better. That'll
I mean,
lessen
as far
some
as
of
this
the,
noise, no.
but the fireworks were,
Right. And with the noise and mufflers and, I mean, the vehicle can go down through here.
They
It
do.
doesn't have to be a four-wheeler or an ATV. I mean, it can be a
Harley.
car, understand? So,
Yeah.
and that's people that make that noise. So I don't know
Well,
any more to say than that.
but
But
I
I'm sure our constable will take care of that situation.
well, I think
I feel comfortable with that.
well, there's some names and stuff in here, and I think the constable, talking to those people, again, like similar things like I just said, if you're a little more courteous and stuff,
Right.
and you don't overreact when somebody's complaining, but you listen to what the complaints are, I think you'll find that the neighbors will get along.
Yeah, well.
It's when they,
Yeah.
Just
And-
be mindful of your neighbors.
That's the
Yeah,
key.
and I mean, when you read the letter, I mean, there's, some disabled people there and so on. So I mean, it isn't a joke, it's
know-
serious, you know
Do
what
we
I'm
know
saying?
that the constable has copies of these letters?
I do not know.
Can we get maybe?
Well, we could drop them.
I'll leave him a
so,
copy of those,
yeah,
just so
That
he
would
has,
be great.
because it does have names and other information on it that he might not have.
He sounded like he was very familiar with the situation.
Yes.
When I spoke with him briefly.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to speak to him.
Yeah.
So. Okay, but putting that in his box and talking to him to continue looking at it and address it. That's where the board is, I assume, that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
Very good.
We have a letter from the animal control officers, letting us know she's going on vacation, and that she will have someone else assist her if they need her. And they will still review calls, but they'll be on vacation June 13th until Monday the 23rd. That's you, man. Okay. Lawn mowing. What's our lawn mowing comments today?
Trevor's in to address his
I just,
lawn mowing.
the cemetery, the gardeners down there, that became an issue. Jason had gotten a phone call about a different cemetery at one point. So I'm here to address any questions that you guys may have. I know when I put my bill in on Monday with Linda, that all my lawns are done. The episode with the cemetery down on Gardner, I did it Monday. It's a rainy season. You can't mow every lawn in 2 days on the 2 nice days that you do get. It has been taken care of, and I will not put a bill in unless the lawn is done.
Okay, that was one of the questions too, because the concern was whether we were paying you a weekly fee or whether we were paying you based on mowings. And my assumption was it was based on mowings. When you mow, then you
Yep.
bill. Okay, and that's good to know. Yeah, I saw the garden. I drive by that every day, so I saw it was getting a little unruly, but I also knew it was like today. I don't know,
Exactly.
so
And just like the day that Jason got a phone call, we worked all day on that cemetery. Started downpour, so we packed it up and left. The only thing that didn't get done was the trimming. I went back the next morning and finished it, but it was already too late. Somebody complained. Somebody's always going to complain about it, but rest assured to know, it does get done every week.
okay.
Well, some of it was a question as whether you're doing it 2 weeks or every week. We weren't.
Every week.
We
The
I
only
wasn't
one
sure
I
myself.
do every other
also.
week is the ball field at the racetrack.
Okay.
And that's in the contract and put that way.
Okay. Any other questions on lawn mowing? You have any concerns for us? You've been finding any problems? People are talking about stones being tipped over and other things.
There are a lot of stones, but it seems like every year there's more and more stones that are laying down. I obviously don't hit them, but they are old. I mean, it's Pownal. There's a lot of old cemeteries here. They just crumble apart. The only other concern I have is the ball field at the racetrack, and it's a hay field every 2 weeks. I mean, you don't mow your lawn for 2 weeks and then you go do it. I don't want to have to mow it twice when I go to do it once. It's always been an issue, and I've brought it to Linda. I've mentioned it to Linda for the last 3 years about it. It's always the issue, because when I get down there, the lower part down by the park is so thick, and it's like that tall every 2 weeks, and it kills my mowers, and it
Is there a reason why we're only having it mowed every 2 weeks instead of mowing it
I don't
regularly?
know.
It was probably started out to be a savings, am I correct? I mean, I wasn't
It's
here. I'm
something
just-
that's carried
This
over
is coming
from
off the top of my head
contract
that
to
would be
contract.
why.
So what are we talking? You know, what's the
Well-
charge for that mowing?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You know,
Do you have an invoice in our warrants this week?
don't remember seeing it.
Well, probably your real concern is probably this first, up through, May and, June.
Well, these are
And
the-
probably
yeah.
coming into July is
Yeah.
not so bad.
Right.
The hotter weather, right?
But like I mowed that last week, and it's that tall. already.
Yeah,
And
okay.
by next week, I go to mow it, and it hurts my mowers. And by the time I'm done, it's bad. I mean, I feel like raking it because I don't like to leave lawns looking like that. But if you're paid to do it once, I'm going to do it once.
No. $35 a piece. Cost to mow it. I would recommend that the board move that you mow it as needed.
Okay?
Second.
Well, I can't make the motion. I
I'll
said
make
it.
the motion.
And you second it. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any other concerns?
No, not really.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Have fun, guys.
Take it easy.
If we get a drought, don't mow it,
All right.
okay? Have a good day.
You too.
Cemetery,
Thanks for that, Henry.
cemeteries, fences and et cetera was on the agenda.
I spoke with somebody that wrote a letter about a month ago concerning Jackson Cross Cemetery Road, and about the fence on the north end of that cemetery, and it is in despair condition. His father put the fence up on the east side from the road all the way back some years ago, and he would like to see the town put up fence across the back piece there.
What kind of fence is there now?
It's a chain link fence. I believe it's
4 foot?
4 foot.
Okay.
I did look at it. It's fairly standing.
And about how much area are we talking?
I didn't get a measurement.
If you had to guess, roughly.
Is it all the way across the back, or?
Yeah, I didn't get down into the brush there, but I would say, got to be in excess of close to 100 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same width as the front?
I believe. I mean, I
Yeah,
haven't
it
seen
would,
it.
it would, I think that is. I think it probably looked
I
on
would
a
think
map.
so.
I would agree.
They could, got to be a couple hundred feet.
Couple hundred.
Was there a chain link back there before?
No, there is not.
There was nothing?
No.
There is some fence here. It's an old page wire.
Page
It's been
wire?
repaired. There's some gates that have been
Yeah.
moving into it.
I can't see why we couldn't throw page wire back up. All it is to keep animals out.
Is that a motion?
You're looking at the woods. Well, that's the motion I make.
Get a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can we get, is this something our road crew can do, or do you want to contract it out? It's going to be cheap, but I'm sure.
I don't know what Casey's schedule is, but why don't we put it to our road crew first and
See what they say?
see what they
Makes
say.
sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that, and then if we need to, we'll get somebody to put it up. It can't happen. Okay, on the other cemetery in North Pownal, I did get to speak to the person about the tree limbs and the flag issues and stuff. The only concern they had was that if we were gonna clean out a lot of trees and hurt their view, coming from where their house is, and I told them we we're gonna basically do some delimbing. They haven't had a chance to go down and take a look, but what we'll do is do that. But it sounds like that if there's just a matter of delimbing a few limbs so that they won't get in the flags, we're okay. Okay. That should take care of that. Okay, anything else on cemeteries? Office repair.
Yeah, you know what? Like, we ought to, while we're on cemeteries, he mentioned stones. I don't think a thing has been done, probably in quite a few. When was the last time we ever had work done on stones?
Oh, God.
Anybody know?
You and I was on the board, that's how long ago it was. I don't think we've done it since then. So that's 15 years.
I don't, I mean, I have no idea.
Probably 15 years.
So what did you mean by work? What
Uh,
did,
Patch
set 'em up,
stones,
set
set
'em
'em up.
Patch them up, epoxy them together. We used to do that, or get it done.
Yeah, you have
know,
to
and
somehow
so
try to notify the owner of the lot. Usually they're easy to find, but not always.
Unless you put it together in the wrong spot.
right?
Well, the trouble is that you want to make sure that you're putting the right stones
No,
together
you know, no,
and setting it
no,
up.
you know, that was brought up before, and I'm not positive about this, but we should probably look into it. I believe we have a right to go, you know, we, not a right, I think we can go in and, set stones back up, put them together, you know, with epoxy or whatever they use today, I don't.
Yeah.
Years ago, I remember we used epoxy.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
And put them together. I think that when we need to notify family or whatever, is if you remove a stone.
Or remove a grave and move it somewhere.
Remove a stone.
Well, what we
Okay,
could
that
do.
means you disposed of it, or you. Okay.
Well, there
I
is-
believe if you look it up, I
there-
think I'm on the right track.
There
I
is a,
think.
there is a state statute that requires the municipalities to take care of abandoned cemeteries.
Right.
It's our responsibility. I don't know just what that statute entails, but I remember us looking it up because when we
Right.
fixed it last time. And I think the way we tried to notify people was we ran something in the paper that basically said we were fixing Gardner Cemetery stones.
Right.
And if you care to contact us, please do,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's what we're doing. And I don't think a single person contacted us. if I
Oh,
remember
I
correctly.
know, right. But I do know that, I'm almost positive, I shouldn't say I do know, I'm almost positive that, the only, it's our obligation to go in and pick them up a little bit and set them up. And,
Well, it's our
and
responsibility
take
to
care of
maintain
it.
them. So.
Maintain them. But I believe that, as far as this notifying someone and so on, is if you remove it. Okay.
Well, I'm positive that we got into trouble because of a couple of gentlemen who thought they were doing a good thing. And I think most everybody in town thought they were too. Both of them are deceased now. They were fixing stones. And they were told to stay the hell out of there by some of the people. That's why it'd be wise, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care how we do it. whether it's a blanket thing in the newspaper or something, but we make some attempt.
Oh, yeah, to
'Cause if
notify.
we're gonna go into these cemeteries, I don't think that's right, anyway. So I on both sides of that fence, you know what I mean?
You get,
Well-
I think, as I said earlier, you have to make an attempt to notify, because there will be people that will be upset if you touch.
No, I agree. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I'm just trying to say that.
But at the
We don't
same,
have to go into, you know.
But I
from
think at the same
1800s.
time,
I don't
if-
think we
if
have
you
to
got a
go into
stone-
great extent of trying to, you know, find all the last living heir. I mean, that's all I'm trying to say
Oh, yeah.
about this.
no,
Does that make sense?
no, I
mean,
think you're fine.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, and I agree that, you know, standing up stones is a plus, because they sink in the ground, they get lost,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
But I know that right now that, when you drive by any of them, my God, they are, and even out here.
I know the one behind the library is pretty tough shape.
It's, you know, it's
Most of the stones are either laying on
tapped
their
or.
side or.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, and that's because I think it's kind of been,
So I
to the
think
wayside
we
for a
should probably come up with a maybe a list of what
Yeah.
we think needs to be done and
or
talk to
or
some
like,
local people that
or
do that
start
work.
someplace and not say, I don't care, but
Well, let's start with finding out who fixes them. I think that's the first step,
There,
because if we find out if somebody fixed them,
I would contact the Historical Society, start there.
yeah, and then, you think, yes, Bill.
Have you ever worked with the Old Cemetery Association, which often has some funds to help people if there's a plan? Are you aware of them?
I'm not.
Is that something you'd like a
I've
little
heard of
information on, or?
as far as I know, I
heard of
don't
them,
think
Bill.
this town has worked with them, but since you brought it up, if they've got funds, I think we need to get right on that.
Well, they have expertise too.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
And they have basically a sense of what other towns go through this all the time. May as
Okay.
well learn from them. I don't know all of their perimeters. I don't know what shape they're in. They got very quiet a number of years ago, and now I
Right.
think they're getting back. But I can try and send Linda some, whatever I can find.
Well,
on
that
I
would
think
be
I
great.
might have an older file on that particular group, just because this came up before
Okay.
many years ago.
Yeah, but send it.
Okay.
Anyways, and
Okay.
be good for us.
It's a good place to
I'll
jump
find it,
off.
I'll contact you.
And I'll do the same.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Thanks for bringing that up, Henry. Okay, back to office repair. I saw the minutes, you guys did a little spot
Last week we
inspection.
talked about painting this building from the outside. We walked around, took a look at it. Most of the gutters are either falling off or in pretty tough shape. We talked about taking them all off and replacing gutters, installing new gutters over the doorways where we walk in and out of the building. Definitely needs to be scraped and painted. And, just a little bit of work. There's a place down here in the corner that needs to be patched where we
Yeah,
have
I think right out here.
animals getting in and out. There's a couple rotted boards here
Board,
that
yeah,
need to be
you know,
replaced.
The rest didn't look that, I mean, this building didn't look that.
We're not gonna move out of here tomorrow, so I think we should do the necessary repairs to make sure, and the appearance to make sure it looks decent and it's kind of vermin-proof.
You're right. You're right, that's right, very good.
You're not talking about me, are you?
No. No, these would be the four-legged variety.
Okay.
So, something I think should be done. Ron?
How would you like to go about this? Is it something you want to make it sounds like you already did something. You make a little short list and we do a little bid process for the local guys to come and tell us how much it costs.
Well, I
to
think
fix it.
that's right. I think that we need to get some people here and have them take a look at it, and I mean,
See where
in
we're
order
at.
in order to paint it, gonna have to change a few clapboards here. There's no question
Well,
about that. And
well, what I'd like to see is, and the reason why I say a list, I like people to compare apples to apples.
Right.
Versus you come in and you see something, now you're gonna give me a quote and have all this list.
Oh, no,
And this
that's
one's gonna
fine.
come in, so if we know what we want done, let's make a little list and then go out and do
We
a
can do
bid.
that.
We can do that, sure.
And then we'll do a little bid and see what I don't expect it to be a whole lot of money, but it's probably dearly needed
Well-
because it hasn't been done in a while. Certainly the gutters, I know the ice falls off up there.
Yeah. Well, these are, the back, what side was it? The back side was all gone,
Yeah.
right?
Completely gone.
The gutter's
Okay.
gotta come off.
And the
the
front
gutters
is
fell
all
off the
gone.
front.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, when you get out and
Yep, okay.
it looks a little rough.
Okay, so who's gonna generate this list for us?
I could take care of it.
I'll
if you
work
want.
Thank you.
Henry and I.
Okay, and then at that point,
Ronnie
you-
took a look at it, Ronnie, we'll all take a peek.
I'm
and then we'll
okay,
get
I'm
together.
okay with you guys making whatever list you want and give it to Linda and let Linda send out a bid,
Okay,
so we don't have to go back and discuss it
Good.
again,
Perfect.
okay?
we can all kind of, you get it, you take a look, if you wanna,
I'm gonna check your list
Okay.
twice.
well, it's okay if you check it.
I'm gonna leave the personnel
Add
and
to
the truck
Or
contract to last,
Okay.
those two items. So let's do the
Okay.
town insurance
Okay.
quote openings and, you wanna open them or do you want BLCT to present? How do you wanna deal with this?
You,
You're gonna want. Go ahead and open it. Don't be afraid. Open it right up.
tape right there, like that.
We're just gonna take a minute and I'll have the board read it and then we'll.
Yeah, let's see it. Pass that right down to Rich.
Basically a cover letter explaining what their services are. Excuse me. Got a bar going tonight.
There's almost drumming on the table again. Don't wanna do that.
My chair's squeaking into the bar.
Was David coming down?
He's scheduled for next week. So I wouldn't expect the board to be making a decision until next week.
Right. That's why I was asking the question. So, just so the board knows, because we're gonna have a presentation next week as well. Basically, we will not be making the decision tonight. We'll hear from both parties, then make a decision. Now, these things, if I understand correctly, Linda, it was for all of our municipality buildings, including both the
Property.
transfer station, the garage, our wastewater,
yeah.
everything,
Yeah. Workers' comp.
and the workman comp is for all employees.
Do the fire departments and rescue squad carry their own?
Yes.
Okay. So look at the two of them together, you can compare them, flip them open.
I'm sorry, Linda.
I already wrote that one down.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you flip it open, you'll see the liability comparisons.
It's right here. Yeah, I think what we don't have that on yet.
Yeah, look at the comparison.
I didn't see it, did you?
We'll have the information back in front of us next week.
That's
when
just a
David's
question
here,
here, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's
Okay.
not here
You
tonight.
follow?
Yep, gotcha.
That's just a question.
Yep.
It just isn't stated there.
Okay, okay.
Do a lot of the towns
Could be 10,000.
insure?
We're gonna give a
Oh, I'm sorry.
presentation.
They'll present.
Okay,
Their cover letter, yeah, if you look at their cover letter, they cover a lot,
I just glanced at it, I didn't read it.
yeah,
You gotta have both of them at the same time to compare anything.
I know. David wasn't available tonight?
He needs to come in to discuss this year's insurance coverage with the board anyway, as he usually does.
And that's for the health insurance as well, or just this insurance?
So, regular insurance.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Just
the,
go over the claims and things that we've had this year.
yeah. Well, the concerns that I have is that we're looking at a couple policies, and we only got one party here to discuss the policy. I have mixed motions about this. I'd rather
You have to add
to
them both
ask,
together? Okay.
I know it's a long trip for you
Sure
guys,
they
but rather
did.
they
Are
ask
you
you to
sure,
come at the
sir?
same time
It's a question.
as the other guys, so we can actually ask questions
Fire department.
versus listening to
follow
you
me?
tonight, and then all of a sudden we hear questions from the other party we won't have the answers for.
Okay?
But that's not workers' comp.
Next Thursday.
No,
Yeah,
no.
one
No, no, no.
minute so you all hear what we're talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Basically, what I'm talking about is maybe having these people come back down next Thursday, and then we
Well,
can
that would
have
be
both parties
That would be
discuss and present their things at the same time versus listening to one tonight and then one next week, and then trying to figure out what the hang one said when and how you want to,
Fine.
if they're willing to do that.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but normally, normally what happens is sometimes, like, we were in a town yesterday. Their agent came in and presented their renewal quote, and an hour before, and then we came in and presented our quote. We don't normally, like,
Do a
this
joint.
at the same time.
Yeah, you wouldn't be doing it at the same time, but you'd be sitting in the same room at the same time. Just so you know, we're not gonna take one in private and listen,
Right.
and one in private. So what'll happen is one person will present and then the other one will present. Now, what'll probably happen at the next meeting, because David's gonna talk about what our claims were and so forth, he's probably gonna go first because we wanna hear what our claims were and what our costs were and so forth. And then after that, we would ask you to present.
I don't have a problem with them
If-
telling me what this is all about.
Well, I mean,
Unless you,
to benefit these folks, I mean, information is good. I mean, we're not gonna make a decision or enact on anything tonight, but
Right.
I would like at least to hear what they have to say about
Me too.
pros, cons, whatever, about their
That's-
product.
that's okay with me too. I guess the bottom line is, I'm gonna go back to where I had that discussion with you guys over the truck bit. The bottom line is, I hate to get bids out and dollar amounts and then turn around and not having decisions made, because then you end up
We're not gonna
waiting
make
over.
a decision. No.
And tonight, I wouldn't make a decision, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I'd want to read out what the bids were for what was given here, because you haven't heard the other party. See what I'm saying? Because people are going to go away, and there's a big discrepancy here between the two. And people want to know what you're making your decision based on. And if you don't have all the facts, it's hard for you to make those decisions tonight. I have no trouble with you people talking about what you offer, what your plans are, and so forth. Where I come down to is discussing money
Numbers.
when we don't have the facts to discuss the money. That's my. You guys can do it. I don't get me
No,
wrong.
I think that's fine, but you know,
And I don't have any trouble doing it if the board votes so to do it. I'll read them off and I'll say what they are, and
Well, I don't even know, I'm not even talking about, and I've said this before, as far as this money goes. That's up to you people. If you wanna talk about the money, that's fine, the bottom line money. The only thing I think if you folks wanna present what you're offering us, I have no problem with that, here's, the, vehicle, and mobile, equipment. What does that consist of? That means all the vehicles over there,
just a
What are we getting?
general outline. That's all. Without
yeah, an
numbers.
outline, that's right, that's right.
okay.
Yeah,
If you want to go
You-
there,
you follow
I'm
what
okay,
I'm saying?
okay with that.
And then, if you want us to go ahead and, say how much, you're gonna offer it, that's up to you, that's fine, I don't mind. Because, we've got 2 bids here, am I correct?
That's right.
And that's it? So,
Yes.
That's
2
it.
of them, okay. I wasn't sure if I'd watch out with me in the paperwork.
That's why I took them and put them right
I
here.
can make a mess of 'em. Okay.
You'll have your cover letter on their
I
bid.
can tell you that what I thought we were gonna do tonight is we were asked to put our bid or our price in an envelope and seal it. That I didn't even know if they were gonna be open tonight. That we were
Okay.
asked to come here and we were just gonna talk about our program a little bit and how it's different from traditional insurance.
That's fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
So I want a
That's fine.
presentation on
That's-
what you're
yeah.
selling. Is
That's-
that the right words?
We're okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. That's what I thought was gonna happen here.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
let's
That-
go.
that-
Let's get started.
I'm interested in knowing what you,
Okay.
what you have to offer.
That's what I thought was gonna happen
okay,
too.
all right, so let's go.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know
Certainly,
what guys
if
are
you,
coming.
at the end, or if you feel that it would be helpful for one of us to come back next week, I mean, I'll throw it out there, I have no problem coming down next Thursday if you want me to
Okay.
come down.
We'll know
I'll
after-
leave that up to somebody
We'll
else.
know once we hear.
Yeah, and you can just give me a call if that's the case, and then I'll plan it.
We'll let you know before you leave.
Okay. Very
Sounds good.
Thank you.
So, first of all, thank you for allowing us to come down, put a presentation together for you, put a proposal together for you. I'm Larry Smith, Manager of Member Relations. I work at Vermont League Cities and Towns. Pam Fecto is the underwriter of the account, also works at Vermont League Cities and Towns. So I thought the way we would kind of do this is first just kind of a quick introduction. Pam's going to tell you a little bit about VLCT passive, and she'll explain what passive stands for, how long it's been around, why it was created, and then I'll go and I'm going to hand the folders out, and in the folders has a few different programs that we offer at VLCT that we find that's most towns take interest in. They're very helpful, and they're used a lot. So I figured, why don't we just start with Pam, and then we'll get into this here, and then we'll answer any questions you guys have that were.
All right, so the first thing that I just want to be clear about is that our coverage runs from January 1 to January 1.
Okay.
So you, I think, have something that's on a fiscal year, July 1 to July 1. So our quote is from July 1 to the end of the year, to January 1. We would then renew you on January 1 to the end of the year and put you on a calendar basis. So just so you're clear with that, that's not a yearly figure. Okay? All right. I just wanted to put that one out there. So, What I want you to understand is, we throw this term passive around, and it stands for Property and Casualty Intermunicipal Fund. It was formed back in 1986 as a nonprofit risk management organization. We are not an insurance company. In the late 80s, the commercial insurers abandoned the commercial market, the municipal market, because I think they thought you were a bad risk. Guns and fire departments and stuff like that. So municipalities approached the league to see if there was anything that we could do, and that's how what we call passive was formed. So we're here because municipalities asked us to be here, and that's how we were created. So traditional insurance companies exist to make money. Their money goes to the shareholders, and pools is what we are called, exist to offer stable pricing, specialized coverages, and try to reduce your risk with our programs, our loss prevention programs. We're governed by a board of directors made up of municipal officials, and we are dedicated to only providing coverage to municipalities. We don't insure the gravel pit down the road or the auto dealer down the road. We only do municipal entities. And what we do is when years are closed out, if there's a surplus for that year, after claims are paid, the money goes back to the membership in the form of what we call a contribution credit. It comes off of your invoice. And to date, we've returned $14 million to our members in the form of contribution credits. So we don't pay shareholders. The members you own it. So it goes back to the members. We're financially strong. We are regulated by the Vermont Department of, what do they call themselves now? Financial Regulation.
Department of Financial
Yeah,
Regulation.
used to be BISHCA, so it gets a little confusing at times. So we have to file our rates. We can't just do what we want to do and make things up. We have actuaries that determine what they are. So there's a process that we go through. One of the other differences I think between what we have and what you currently have is in liability limits. I haven't seen all of your policies, so I don't know exactly what you have, but we have 10 million in liability limits. We feel that just with the way things are, with the way municipal entities are, that you need that kind of coverage. I think in your case, you have maybe $1 million and a $3 million aggregate, which means that's the most of all claims that would be paid in a year. Like I said, I haven't looked at it exactly, and so I can't do a total comparison. I can just tell you what we have as far as liability limits. That's our standard liability, is 10 million. We offer public officials and employment practices with a combined $10 million limit. Those are where you see a lot of claims these days, suits that are brought against you for discrimination and hiring, promoting, selecting, dismissing employees. That's the up and coming where all the lawsuits seem to be coming from these days. And so, and the others, public officials is really important. It's decisions that you make as a board regarding, whether it's building permits, zoning, employment practices, all of that stuff. So you have 10 million of limits there. The other thing is our crime coverage. We have a $500,000 employee dishonesty and faithful performance coverage, and it covers your public officials, elected or appointed, your employees, and your volunteers. So you don't necessarily have to have, unless the select board wants a separate bond from someone, it should cover that covers your employees that are required by statute to be bonded. So we have our claims staff is in-house right here in Montpelier, so we have underwriting, member relations. If you need a certificate of insurance, if you need to file a claim, if you need someone to look at a contract that has some insurance language in it, you can send it to us. We can look at it. We're right here in Montpelier, and so we have a lot of other services. And Larry's going to talk about those that are in the packet that we offer that make us a little different from traditional insurance. There's my spiel.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna hand this packet out, and as I hand it out, I'll answer, there was a question about roughly how many municipalities in the state that we do, and I think I might be one packet
Yeah, we might be
short,
one short. Sorry about that.
and I apologize for that. Currently, we have over 95% of the municipalities in the state. are covered by our passive program. There are
You all set?
right now, there was 14, there's now 13 municipalities in the state that we do not cover. So again, about 96% of the municipalities we cover in the state. So we have most of the municipalities. So in the packet on the far, as you're looking at on the right-hand side, just as an overview of some of the highlights of the passive program. I'm not going to go through that in detail. Just if you have questions, say in a couple days or even after we leave, if you wanted to know, well, what did he say? Some of the information I'm about to go over is already in that passive highlights. Underneath that is what we call a whom to call sheet. Our passive board, our property and casualty board, is made up of municipal officials, and it does indicate who is on there from municipal officials around the state. I think it's an 11-person board, if I'm not mistaken. So again, there's one sheet of all of our boards and who sits on those boards, and then on the other sheet is folks at the LCT if you ever have any questions, who to call. The real brunt of what the real meat of what I wanted to talk about is on the other side. There's a couple programs there that I've found over the past few years municipalities have taken full advantage of. It's been very popular. The very first one, I'll get to the Work Strong program, which is the top one at the end. But underneath that, there should be a yellow and a green sheet. If you want to pull those out for a minute. The yellow sheet is what we call our passive grant program. Every year, our board, or your board, if you're a passive member, looks at, what, how they can share funds with some of our members. If there's funds available at the end of the year, they determine how much they're going to make available for cases like this. And this is what is called the passive grant program. In this past year, now I'm getting a tickle in my throat.
You got Nelson.
Blame it on me.
This past year, our board set aside $200,000. They set aside $200,000 to share in grants. And what that is it's a 50-50 match. So say you were going out and you had to purchase some type of safety equipment. I'll just give you a couple examples. On the fire side, we've seen the turnout gear. It's been pretty popular. Chaps, safety equipment for chainsaws, the helmets and the ear muffs. There's culvert thawer. I've seen that come through. We've paid for that in the past. So there's a lot of, it's just safety related type things that the town, that the towns use. And what it is you apply for a grant, and it's a 50-50 match up to $5,000. So if it's a $10,000 piece of equipment and you get the grant, then you would get $5,000 of that. It's a 50-50 match. Been very, very popular. I'm going to be honest with you. This year, we have gone through almost the whole 200. There are still funds available. It's about $15,000 still available. So it has been very, very popular. Very popular program.
Is there just one grant per year per municipality?
Per municipality, yeah.
And you can apply for it every year.
Yes, you can. And you never know. At the end of the year, our board may decide they want to allow more. It depends on how the year goes and what's available at the end of the year. The other one, the green sheet, also very popular from our municipalities, is it's called a scholarship program. So if you wanted to, say, send somebody away in the town to go get some training for something that was safety related or some type of training that was very important to that particular position, you could apply for this, and we would pay for one person up to $500 to send somebody away to get training. The other part of it is, say you wanted to hire or bring somebody in, and a good example would be maybe you wanted to bring somebody in to give the road crew an update on proper chainsaw, how to cut the trees. There's different ways, and they have actually somebody that trains for that. So say you wanted to bring somebody in to give the road crew some safety training, we would pay up to $2,500 to do that for a group training like that. So again, very popular program. A lot of our municipalities around the state have used it. It's really to try to improve the risk management in the town. Just, try to stop losses, try to help with risk management in the town. So found it very useful. The other area is the Work Strong program, and that's the one with the picture of the people doing exercises, I think. Yep. It's called the VLCT Work Strong. In the past, we've had a individual that was part of our health trust. Her name is Heidi Joyce, that went out and she did biometric screenings. She did biometric screenings, flu shots, cholesterol testing. She did all of that one-on-one type through our health trust. She's now working through the passive program now. So what she's doing is she'll go out and she'll do one-on-one consultations with individuals. She'll give them proper techniques for stretching. She'll do ergonomic assessments if you need her to. She can, I think, even does a one-on-one. She'll give you yoga instructions of different yoga techniques. And really, the reason why we felt that this was important is to try to reduce our workers' comp claims. We feel that, if individuals just take a few minutes every day and do some, just some little stretches and stuff like that, especially for the folks that are in the trucks, they're jumping in and out of the trucks quite a bit throughout the day. So just some stretches that may help some of those injuries that we're starting to see.
And it's been well received.
It's been very well received, yeah. She works a lot right down the road here with Bennington. The town of Bennington is one of our members, and she works a lot with them. Been very well received. One of the other programs, so there's two other ones that I want to discuss. One of them is a pink sheet that's in your, half a sheet that's in your, yeah? Coral. Coral. It's, guess it's
Salmon.
Sam, I'm sorry, salmon.
So, we also, this is a new program that we just started this year, and I will say it's, our members it's been very receptive. We've had 10 or 11 calls on it already, so members have already started to use it. But what this is, I know Pam talked a little bit about employee practice liability, or EPL, which we do offer EPL coverage. But what this is some assistance if you ever get in a situation where you have to make a tough decision. Prior to making that tough decision, pick the phone up, call our Municipal Assistance Center. They can only give you so much guidance. They'll help you to a point, and then they can't really go beyond that. But we've retained 6 attorneys around the state that will refer you to one of those attorneys, and you would contact them and explain the situation. They'll give you some guidance. They'll give you some direction of, this is what you should do, or this is what you shouldn't do, or this is how you should do it. And as long as and that's free advice, as long as you follow all of those rules and advice that they give you, and if for some odd reason you still get sued, you still get a case, we'll waive the deductible. It's a $2,500 deductible for EPL, and that will be waived. Again, we found that I think Pam kind of touched upon it. It's kind of an up-and-coming trend. So we're trying to make sure that municipal officials go the right way if they ever get in that situation. So.
And we've had some good response from our members that have used it.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes you put something out there and you think, but there were some pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
With so it's been important. People are using it. It's hopefully preventing claims
And then the last piece in there is Invest EAP. So again, part of being a passive member, you would get Invest EAP, and again, that's no additional cost. That's all built in. So that would be for all your employees. I'm going to leave you. This is a loss control book. Our loss control services is they're hands-on. They're boots on the ground. Wade, and I can never pronounce Wade's last name. Mayshore would be the loss control representative of this area. He actually lives on the other side of the mountain, but he lives over in Bellows Falls area. So he is in this area quite frequently. But he and our loss control department offer a lot of trainings, again, all included, and there's no additional charge. And I'm just gonna leave you this book, you can go through it and see all the different trainings that are available to you. And then the one last thing I wanted to mention is, I know your road crew, since they carry a CDL license, have to be part of some type of consortium for a drug and alcohol consortium. And currently, you pay $150 per driver to be part of that consortium, and that's also included being a passive member. So I don't know how many drivers you have, but that's included. There's no, you don't pay that $150 if you are a passive member.
And I think that the one other thing was, you have 2 fire departments and a rescue department that are not part of this liability, not part of the liability coverage, but they are covered under the workers' comp.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Am I correct? Yeah.
So that's, I guess you would say, my spiel. I don't know if you have any questions. I know it's kind of a lot to digest.
Are you limited in this book? Let's say you wanted to have the Flagger Work Zone Safety certification, and then you wanted to do handed power tools. Are you limited as to the number of these programs?
Not at all.
We
In
can
fact,
ask
we
for your-
encourage the more you can take advantage of, because that means that you're more involved in looking at the risk management side of things. We encourage you to take take advantage of as much as you can.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
How long has this outfit been operating?
19.
We just had our
Just had our
25th
25th.
anniversary last year, so
Okay.
26
over
years.
25 years. All right.
That's good. Yeah, one of the questions I have is every year a portion of the fund surplus is returned to the members. It's a contribution credit. You gave it a return of $16,000 or $16 million to the memberships. What's that on average per year do you give back? You said you had, 96% of the towns, I guess.
Yeah.
What are we talking in realistic numbers?
Yeah, it's funny. Larry and I were asked that question sort of on an average too, and it's hard to say. Like, what happens is there's a formula that goes into it. So it's and finance has it, and it's really crazy because it's like you take the year that's the years that are closed. So when they're closed, there's no more claims, and then that's what you look at, sort of going backward. So it has to do with contribution, so the amount that you pay.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a percentage of what you pay, but there has to be some sort of formula that works out.
There is.
Okay.
But and there are some members, because of smaller contribution, some don't, some get more, some get less.
Yeah. But is it pretty much, when you say more or less, I don't understand more or less in dollars. Is it about the same percentage though, whether if you're a small payer or a large payer, or is there a big percentage different based on the claims you make or something? Because I know the formula has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be based on how many claims you made, I assume, as part of your contribution and what you get back.
Yeah, it does. I don't know exactly, I can't tell you because I don't know exactly what goes into it as far as if you took a member the size of a Pownal and what you could expect on the average for a contribution credit. That's a question that I could probably get some more detail.
Yeah, because I'd be interested with that.
Sure.
Simply because of looking at the numbers, and what I would say, and if we make no claim all that year, if there's a 3% credit,
Yeah.
there's a 3% credit. If it's 1%, there's a difference, or if it's 10%, there's a
Right.
difference.
Right.
And I like to know, if you're doing that every year, that's all part of the formula that I look at.
Yeah.
When I say, what are we really paying for this product? So to
Yeah.
speak. I do like all the training. I think
Yeah.
that's a very big plus, that people don't understand the dollar costs that are involved in that sort of stuff. But it's good because it lowers the risk and
It does.
it helps people make less claims and helps them get a
Right.
percentage back.
Yeah.
That's the idea. It helps make you what we call a better member, so.
So that's the only thing I saw. I saw this at, you know, you throw out this big number, a return of 16 million, 16 million, and I say, I know, was that in real?
Right.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
you do 96% of the state towns, that's a huge amount of.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that it is a non-profit organization, and that's one of the things that we say is, you know, the money goes back to you because you own it, it's yours. If it wasn't for municipalities, membership and pass, Larry and I wouldn't be here, we wouldn't exist. So, you know, we're here because there was a need and we were asked to be here, and so we get support from our members, and we try to fill the needs that, you know, we talk about when we do our coverage document. We look at, okay, what's happened over the last year or so? Are there, you know, do we have things that we need to put into our coverage document, or, you know, what's going on? So there's a whole process that goes through it, and it's conducive to municipalities.
Well, I looked at the one thing alone here because of past practice of the town here with some things. You had lawyers available to do with employees, you know, for free. Where
Yeah.
we could talk to the lawyer, get information, and come back and say, okay, well, here's the actions you should take.
Right.
Or this is what you should be handling it without paying huge sums of money. And that, to me, is a big win for any municipality over time.
And I just have one question here too. The on your bid, that bid covers from July 1st to January 1st.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes January 1 instead of December 31. It goes the way the coverage goes. The way the coverage goes normally is January 1, 2014 to January 1, 2015.
Okay, so you did not include a full 1 year in your.
Because what happens is this, I said our coverage, this goes from July to January 1st. We have to have our rates filed with the Department of Financial Regulation for the following year. So come January 1, I don't know what the rates will be.
And that's the caveat of this thing here, right?
Is
This is the
because our
because of our timing. I think is the. You see where I'm going with this? Because
Well, here's where it is with us. We do our budget in July. What we like to do is put in the amount of money that we know is gonna be needed to have insurance for the whole year.
exactly. So
So if we're trying to budget, which what we'll be, we got a
Doing,
ways to go to do
right.
that, we'll be closer
But-
to January 1st when we do that. But the real thing is that's the reason why
Our
our
yeah.
decision goes on what dollars do we need by July 1st, so we can cover for the full year in our mind. We have it in our budget for July 1st when we put it out to the voters in March. That doesn't mean that we can't do that in January and have the numbers. It's just because you usually don't hand it in until right after the 1st of January when you actually hand your budget in to be voted on. So it's just.
we would have those numbers before then.
And we
Oh,
don't,
yeah.
and we don't require, you know, you have choices, you can pay it in full, you can pay it, twice a year, you can pay it on a quarterly
Quarterly.
basis,
So in reality, you can pay partial one year,
Right.
partial next
right,
year if you had
so,
to.
Yeah.
exactly.
I just want to make sure I was
Our-
clear
Our
on that.
renewals usually go out, I'm trying to think, is it in November or mid-November? Trying to remember when our renewals go out.
Yeah, we send stuff out in October for people to send.
To
Yeah,
send the
send
renewals in.
So we'll have it by December when we do it.
Yeah.
So basically what you would do is you would pay from this July to whatever you had. If you didn't have enough, then what you do is, come the following March, you're gonna budget for the next year to payment.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
we'll have to figure that out. But,
Right.
again, I do like the large series of offering that they do. I don't know about the rest of the board. I usually don't see that when you're picking up insurance, you're buying insurance. The rest of that stuff.
I like that high limit on liability
Yeah, especially these days.
these days.
You never know.
I'm very, I know about your programs, I work for Bennington.
Oh, okay, great.
How do you find, have you ever had to deal with it yourself personally as an employee up there? Anyway?
Training is big. I know we just got a grant for backup cameras,
Yeah, that's been very
confined
popular
space
this year.
Equipment, a lot of.
Yep.
So it's worked out pretty well for Benny.
Very familiar with Wade.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
found that we've seen a kind of an uptick in backup accidents. So it's been backup cameras have been those and alarms been very popular this year
Interesting.
because a lot of municipal highway departments have been broken into and things have been stolen. So they put a grant in for an alarm. Definitely been popular.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Have a safe trip home.
Oh yeah.
You,
Thanks.
Yeah.
And, do we need them back now? I guess that's the question, or you had enough, what you know, knowledge you have?
I don't have any questions. I think you did a great job with your presentation.
Yes, very good.
If you find you have questions, you can put them together, we'd be more than happy to come back and answer
Um,
them, whatever works.
Is there a, does Linda have your contact info?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we didn't introduce ourselves.
That's okay.
Thank you, Pam.
Oh, and
Good to meet you.
Fecteau, Fecteau, I thought I had a card in there.
That's good.
I just ran out of business cards, so.
You got it?
And also Pownal, the chair, there's Jason Polanski, Henry Strohmeyer, Rich Ryder, and Ron Bizon with a, make up the select.
Very good.
Thank
Have
you.
a, have a
And
safe
right.
trip.
Linda's our administrative assistant. Does a good job.
Thank
Hi
you.
again.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Linda.
Okay. Put these things in the envelopes and give them back to Linda. I'll put them on the stack here, Linda, so. Okay, now, what was the next thing we had on here? Does, and we opened both insurance, the other insurance, we're not gonna do anything with it for next week. All right, two things I have now is the contract for purchase of the dump truck, and the other is, personnel. Where do you wanna go, guys? What do you wanna do here?
You choose.
Alright, well, let's get the contract out of the way. The question I'll ask, because it's a contract, do you wish to go in executive session, or you just wanna solve this out in the open and get it over with?
Yeah, I'll speak. I always got something to say, right? But-
Yeah, well, I'm asking the question where you wanna discuss it.
Oh, I don't mind discussing. I voted once
Okay.
to buy.
Alright,
I was satisfied with
Contract
it.
on what? The
Truck.
truck?
which is,
I don't agree. I think it should go back out to bed. I'd like to see, too much water has gone under the dam, in my opinion. It's been over 60 days. I've kicked this around. It's gotten muddled, confused. And I'd like to see the whole process started all over again. I'd like to see new bids on everything come in and go from there.
okay. Ron, any comments?
I feel that as long as the low bidder will accept the bid, I feel it should be awarded,
As was voted by the board?
as voted by the board before.
Henry?
I guess that's what I said.
Okay.
I feel the same.
Hey, well, I certainly have majority of the board feels like that the bid was awarded and it should be made, and based on looking over our purchasing policy here, one of the key things that I read here is that when you're doing it with the negotiating with bidders or otherwise, and it says, and also you can make an award which is in the sole and absolute judgment will best serve the town's interests. And I'm assuming that's what the board members that are speaking up to move forward with this is doing it with the best intentions to basically do it with the best to serve the town interest. You're not doing this out of personal spite or any other crap. We're doing it because the motion was made based on the bids and on. So, with that said, I would urge our administrative assistant to contact Mr. Delory and see if he will still honor the bid that he put in front of us. And if we need to sign a contract, I assume the board is gonna make the motion for me to do so.
I make the motion, you sign it if we have to sign one.
Yeah, I think that, I thought that's the way we left it.
Okay.
We
I
were
know.
gonna get a hold of Delory if he would honor the bid, and that's where we left it. We did not touch the bid, we didn't alter the bid, we didn't do anything, we honored the bid to the lowest bidder. And there's no question that we took my opinion, we took every step to be sure that all members, that's why it was set aside. Jason went ahead and had time because he was a new member, had a chance to take a look at these bids, and I took time to weigh that decision very carefully, and that's why I don't have any problem with it. I think we should move on it.
I just need a
quickly.
second so I can sign it, that's
Oh,
all.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstention or nays?
I oppose.
Okay. And because there's enough vote, I'm not going to abstain. I'm not going to vote on that one. But I will be signing this as soon as if Delory approves the contract as the bid came. If you get that, Linda, just leave it in my box and I'll sign it Sunday and put it back on your desk. Okay, that takes care of the truck. Now, the next thing was personnel. This is to do with our yearly reviews and pay raises and et cetera for the staff. Now, I don't know how much you want to discuss in open or not. I do know that there was some discussion about having the personnel do evaluations. I would urge us to proceed with that if we can. I don't know, did you have any forms for evaluation that you brought? I know I got some you gave me. They're the only ones.
I didn't remember.
But basically, give me a minute, guys, and I'll see if I can find these. So I can show you what I'm talking about. We had some old forms that were really not conducive to the type of employees that we have. It was more for professionals that were in the computer field and so forth, because I brought them in years ago. These here are from similar jobs. And Jason, if you wish to talk about what they are, you probably understand better than me. Probably even use them.
This one here is I think it's a generic evaluation by the department head. This one here gives some input by the employee on whether he agrees, disagrees, discussion of the whole thing. This is also a rating, a number rating for this one here.
Take a few minutes and it'll pass down, let you guys look at
Let me
it.
ask you a
They're
question.
both very basic.
I just want to ask this question. Do you have job descriptions for each and every position? Because I don't know how you can do an evaluation without a job description.
There should be job descriptions for when we ran ads for both the foreman job. Linda's has a job description, because I know I had that on the computer still yet. Casey should have one for the road foreman, because we did that, and we had to do that to prove that he was an exempt employee. So, and the road crew members are self-due. Now, there's
Self-do? What?
no, basically Casey, I want the people to do a self-evaluation too. That's where the self's coming in.
I realize that, but even if they're going to do a self-evaluation,
They're gonna have a job description that basically says, how do you feel you do your job based on that job description? And basically what they do, if you look at their application when they applied for a job, it says these are the duties of that job.
So, to answer my question, then, every town employee from the sewer department on,
Sewer department has
everybody's got a
contracts. Each
job
one of-
description.
Each one of them has a contract down there, the two of the.
I realize that, but again, my question is, for every position that we have in this town, we have a job description
We
for.
don't for elected officials.
Well, yeah, yeah,
They're by state statute.
yes,
Okay?
but we do have that.
But for our hourly employees. We ran applications for that. Elected officials, we don't.
I just want to make sure we have that because I think it's vitally important that everybody understands what their job description is and before you can evaluate them. That's my only point.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd have to pull it out of the folders where they're, Linda would have to
Yeah,
look in the folders and pull them out,
I've
but I
got
think
it. I
they.
got it. One thing. Linda, does our employees all have job,
The road crew
Descriptions.
does,
they all do?
transfer station.
Okay, it's a question, because he brought it up, I just wanna be for sure that,
They'll be in their personnel file as a job.
okay,
It,
be-
when I look at a job description, there's several,
that makes sense to me.
I know where you're coming from, because some job descriptions are much more,
That's okay.
it's broken down like these evaluations are, by line and things. Where our job descriptions are more of, you will be doing these duties, we expect you to be called out during snow and so forth. They're not as well detailed as I would like to see them if I was doing an evaluation of them. But I think that's up to the supervisor to explain to the person, here's what the job description is, here's what I expect you to do when it says plow snow. I expect you, to keep your
Right,
truck
right.
fit, and so, without being a bullet that says truck maintained, blah, 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 down the line. You're not gonna see that sort of job description. And again, I think what should happen is that the supervisors of each site, like Casey should do all of his people, Darcy needs to do her people, Hap needs to do his people, and then if those people wish to do self-evaluation, they should be given a blank and let them do it too. So that they can do a comparison when they sit down with their supervisor. Or when we see them, we'll see a comparison of what people think they're doing and what other people think they're doing. The bottom line is, when you sit here now, and I'm sure, Rich, you question sometimes, what are they supposed to be doing?
Well, I think it,
Whatever.
I guess my whole point of this is it's beneficial
Well,
to
we
the,
expect them to do the
to the
job.
employee. It's as beneficial to the employee as it is to the supervisor, from the supervisor to us, so that we're all on the same page.
That's right.
That's basically
Yeah.
why I raised that.
Yeah, and I think we need to do that, and I have no trouble starting from this point where we're at, and just having the job description as we ran it for an ad to fill the position. If we need to modify that, we'll modify it as time goes.
Where did this thing come from? Just out of curiosity.
This one here you're looking at now,
Yeah, this
I got it.
before.
Jason brought it in.
Okay. Well, we do have a policy that was Town of Pownal Employee Performance Appraisal that Rich is familiar with it. He was on it. The board before this one. We do have a thing. I don't know how many different kinds of papers we
Let
did
me
have.
see. Let me see what
This
that
is
one looks
what-
like. That might do the trick.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we spend a lot of time doing all these things for nothing, I guess.
No,
Well, it was a question, so
that's right.
So,
Uh,
well, I-
First time I've seen this one,
I can't.
but that's okay.
I asked the question, that was all, if there, it's out there, and if it is,
See what happens
let's
when
lay
you
'em
ask
on the
a
table.
question?
well, that's what you wanna do. If you don't ask, you don't receive,
You're right.
okay?
You're
Very
right.
simple, I mean, seriously, I'm,
Well, this is mixed. I wouldn't expect the road crew to consistently maintain their database. So,
Well, you would put NA, not applicable.
yeah. Well, usually it's me. I'd have evaluations that are fit. Like, that's why when you said job description, because usually you have an evaluation that says this group, and you have an evaluation for this group, because it'd be different for Darcy and pump
Absolutely.
stations, and
Different jobs.
I don't believe in self-evaluation.
I do.
I don't, because I feel, why would a guy ever say he wasn't doing a good job?
You might be
You'd have to be an
surprised.
idiot.
You might be surprised. They
I
won't.
want
They
a
won't.
cotton
They won't
pad.
say that they won't. They might not say. They might not say what you
I
just
want a
said.
cotton pad.
They might not just say what you just said, but they might say, "I would like to do more of this sort of thing because I'm capable of doing it. And I'm not being allowed to do it, and I know I could do that." So they're basically stating that they're not doing as much as they can, but it's not their fault, and that's how you find out by them doing self-evaluations.
Well, see, I'm an old school manager, you know, if people aren't doing their job, they're told about it. And then either they pick it up or, you know, they find
Move
another
on.
job, that's all.
Yeah, the ones you brought in are more general, which I think cover a wider base. But I don't have any trouble with any of these. I just think that the board should be
Well,
asking.
if that's obsolete, I just want to throw it away, that's all. I can't be
No,
carrying
I don't-
paper around for
it's-
nothing. But we
leave
worked
it up-
on this stuff for 4 or 5 weeks.
I'll leave it up to the board to choose what they wish to do. I just think they should do
I
evaluations.
don't have any idea what we're doing.
If you don't do evaluations, how can you set a pay raise?
Well, I think that,
Tell people that they're all either doing wonderful or they're all not or somewhere in between?
I think we don't even know them.
That's why I'm asking the question. To do evaluation, you'll know.
Well, you know
So,
what they're
I
telling
mean,
you.
it's time to say, at least say
Well, then
hello.
you'll know what the supervisors think of their employees.
hurt.
Well,
too.
not only that, too, now you have a record, a paper trail of an employee's performance
Right.
that you can go back to, you can look at, you can say that the next year you do it, was there improvement? Was there a lapse? You know, you have a benchmark to go off of, so.
To get
If you
that
go far
started.
enough back, you'll find that there's
daily,
evaluations in some of our personnel files,
Daily,
because they used to be done every year,
For your employee, for the employees.
and it
So-
stopped.
Yeah,
You
and it should be done.
A policy for their work, performance.
Evaluation.
Yeah, yeah. So, but if, and you're right, absolutely right. Right now, I mean, we're gonna be talking about something that is, just a guess. 'Cause, I haven't seen anything to evaluate. I mean, unless Ron's been here, you guys been here
Stop it.
longer than me.
They were here
Don't
last,
point your finger at me.
they were here last,
I'm old school.
they were here last year.
Show me
They-
something, I'll give you a raise. Don't show me nothing, I ain't giving you.
No, okay. Well, all right. That's,
Well, guys,
and I'm just trying to bring it
I'm just,
along with what you just said.
Yeah.
If you don't have any.
Right.
how
No, I
can-
think it's a good thing, and that's what I think we're gonna do,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
that's right.
Right.
We need
Very
to do
good.
one. And I don't care which one of the forms you choose, if you think it should be something totally different. I do think, however, that we need to have our supervisor evaluate their people, and then we need to evaluate the supervisor. And basically put something that says, hey, we'll better understand their jobs, they'll better understand where we're coming from, and we can do something with it. Otherwise, you sit in here and we'll debate, well, what should we give them for a raise this year? Well, if you want to give them 0, or you want to give them 1% or 2%, and just do it across the board, or, that's not really. You could have an employee that's doing nothing. You could have one that's working their butt off.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
well,
that's where I am with evaluations now.
Very good.
Now the question is, it sounds like you're not ready to go in and set pay rates tonight. For sure.
Well said.
Do
You're
you think it
saying-
would be a good thing if we, as
see
a
that
board,
again?
met
Oops,
our
I'm sorry.
employees?
Oh, I don't think it hurts.
Sorry.
I mean, you can do our evaluations, I think you're absolutely right. That's up to our supervisor to do that. He knows his people. But gosh, I would like to say hi to these people,
That's so would I.
just,
I guess the question I would ask, do you want to do that high before they've been evaluated? Or do you want to do it afterwards so you have their evaluation in front of you and you can ask questions?
whatever, well, either way, it's fine with me. I would just like to have I mean, if we've got 5 employees, I think it's over
More
there.
than that.
Now, we got some part-time ones.
8. Well, you got 3 down there. There's 8, and you
Well,
got 3.
but over.
There's another 3. There's 11.
Okay.
You know,
I think there's 11 on the payroll.
12.
Okay.
There's a few of them. There's more than you think
Some-
once you
well-
start counting them up on your fingers.
Well, I've got a lot of them too, but I mean,
It's and again, we set rates for elected officials. You know, and there's another group of people, and that's a pretty large number too. So I'm,
Well, I think we ought to get through this before 2015.
well,
Before 2015,
I think Linda would like us to be through it before July 1st if she's got to put that into the thing.
We'll have to.
The board's
we'll-
never been on time before, so let's.
Well,
Do you need a
that means
motion?
we're not gonna
That's
get
why I'm
it.
trying to push them,
Go
because
ahead,
it'll be
I'll
in
second.
time.
I'd like to make a motion that, you seem to think this is a better one than the one you saw, what we did. If you,
Well, it's just more general, right? It's more,
it's more generic.
yeah, so basically people can go down and fill, yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion then, we retain hours on file.
Yep.
And that we use the current generic evaluation form for the supervisors and all departments, this is a long motion, to evaluate their employees, and they should probably come back directly to the board
After the,
after the evaluations are completed.
yeah, because basically what'll happen is the employee has to sign and the supervisor signs.
Mm-hmm.
Once that's done, then they should come back to the board.
Yes. So,
And,
that,
and could we also ask the supervisor to do a self-evaluation at the same time? So they do one of these, even, we'll be the ones signing off on theirs.
okay. All right, I'll make that, I'll include that in the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And noes? Got any noes? No.
Don't matter to me. I don't care what you guys do. I was on a different board.
Excuse me, guys. Okay. So Linda, could you see that enough of these are made up that each person, I'll put it right here. And we'll keep these other ones out for the moment.
Where's this list of who I'm distributing the list to?
You're gonna distribute them to Casey, one for him and one for all of his employees that he has working there. You're gonna distribute them to Hap and enough for all of his employees. You're gonna give them to Darcy and all her employees. And you're gonna do one yourself, and all the other supervisors are gonna do one themselves. Now, who have I forgot as employees that aren't elected? Because all the rest are elected.
Let it known that if there is any others,
wish
they
that
better get one.
If they wish, if any of the elected officials wish to make one out, so we know more about what they're doing and hand it in to us, we're more than willing to accept it.
Yeah.
That gives them a way of presenting what they do too. You don't mind them doing that, right? Even though your motion didn't have that.
No, I don't mind.
That way there, we'll get them and we'll review. But
We
the
get
supervisors need to
moving,
go
whatever we're
through
gonna
their
do.
people's
I'm gonna
first.
do your
What am I
evaluation.
supposed to do, like for DRB and
Don't
planning?
Planning, we're not gonna worry about DRB. The $300 a year we pay them, I'm not worried about,
What about their staff?
you know. Oh,
Their staff
Julie,
is under their direction.
yeah, they should do one for Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, either pops up another.
yeah, they should do their secretary. Any others like that we missed? If there is, just add them to the list. And see that they get copies.
When do you want them back, Nelson? I mean,
Well, as soon as,
What about like animal control and all that kind of stuff? Where all you going here?
well, animal control, we'd have to do it.
They're considered employees, aren't they?
Yeah, she is.
The janitor.
Well, that person can make it out. Anyone that wishes to make one out can make one out. I'm more concerned with the hourly paid people that we're
Yeah.
paying
Yeah.
large sums of money.
okay.
All hourly paid employees.
The stipend stuff for the $25 a week or the $300 a year,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I'm not gonna sit down and try to interview every single one of them. That's not worth it.
No.
What we need to know is the ones that are costing.
So you're saying anybody that makes less than us, we don't care, right?
That's right.
Okay.
But I expect you to make out a self-evaluation. It'll be interesting reading, if nothing else. All right. Anything else?
we don't have anything else on the agenda, correct?
No, but I'm just,
Well, I would,
wait to get this done by.
a date?
Yeah, when do you want to tell these people? 2 weeks?
Well,
I think that's fair.
Is that a reasonable amount of time? Seeing as how, I know it's gonna push us right up to July 1st, so.
Well,
but
at,
that's
le-
okay.
at least we'll have them.
Yeah.
What's the date in 2 weeks?
Today's the 12th, 2 weeks is the 26th.
Okay, and, if we would like to have the employees come in,
We can,
Uh,
we'll know, let's see how this moves
Yeah,
for 2 weeks.
let's see where we're
Well,
at.
And then if they're starting to come in, we'll ask the employees to come in and start doing something at the end of the month.
well,
Even if we have to have a special day just for the employee.
that's fine, whatever.
I think,
But I know that,
and I don't have,
I certainly would feel comfortable, at least if I'm gonna give someone a raise, or if we don't wanna give any, I don't, that's whatever, however it goes.
oh yeah, we want to talk.
You follow, but at least you'll say hi and, what have you been doing, how's
Yeah.
your job going,
Suggestions?
what can we do?
Yeah, I'd just
to
like
make
to-
the
I'd just
job
like to do
better?
that
Matter of fact, we just got a list here, do you think you ought to have a little more training? Do you think you'd be better if you cut a little bit of brush, if you had some chainsaw, experience? Do you have experience?
Is there some training you'd like?
Yeah, you know, I really think that we've touched a lot of bases here tonight,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean,
Henry.
geez, so far, we haven't really, gotten our employees involved and I think we need to.
And that's what we're doing.
And that's what we're doing, and I think it's a great thing,
Yep, I think,
Good.
this is the opening that door.
yeah.
Before we entertain a motion to adjourn
2 weeks was the,
2 weeks, you got that, Linda?
Did we vote on this?
Got it.
We do have our state representative here,
Just agreed.
Bill Botso, at the end of the legislative session. Is there anything we or the townspeople need to know or should know? If you could come on up here and get,
Yeah, it'd be great.
just for a minute or two.
Of course, there's a lot of legislation out there, but there was something closer to home I wanted to mention because a constituent of all of ours asked me as about some road signage on US 7. And just yesterday, I found out that I was pretty sure of this, wanted to make sure that basically that runs through the select board. And so what it would require would be a letter from the select board that then would go to the district garage and then on up to the traffic operations. We've done this before on speed limits. This isn't a speed limit one. So I thought it was maybe a little premature, but if I have the moment, I'd just at least plant the seed for your consideration about writing a letter along that line. And this is a citizen, a person who uses the road a lot, has their own truck and does their own business around town. And this gentleman basically was concerned about trucks pulling out of Hart's Gravel's pit when you're going around the corner. And his question was along the line of, would it be possible if there was some sort of a warning sign for trucks entering or leaving the road? And if that was something that the select board was interested in discussing, or now that it's out there, people may have opinions that you want to hear on it, or even the person who came to me, it'd be up to him. I would be very happy to do whatever I can to facilitate that. We've done this before with a letter, and usually what happens is that it would be sent up to traffic operations. They often send somebody down, and they look at sightline distances, and I think a number of us have been through this often before, how it works. And then they have a meeting in Montpelier, and found if you attend the meeting, you tend to get your sign. So as long as it's well thought out, or whatever the recommendation is. The obvious concern for this person is, safety. Those are big trucks. There are people that do come whizzing around the corner, and I don't believe the speed limit drops to, we could only get 45 until you are on the other side of that entrance.
correct.
Or so. So that was one thing that was, direct and immediate, that is both select board and, in a sense, town state. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but if you want to keep going ahead a little bit, or you want to, I don't know what you,
I think it's a good idea because when those trucks do pull out, it's not a blind corner, but there is not a great deal of vision, especially north to south. I think you have a greater view south to north. And I noticed too that the big thing today are solar flashing lights. It could be, trucks entering and exiting, caution.
like we have here for the school.
Yes, very similar to something like that. In both directions, I think would be, in my opinion, it would be a good thing.
The state would probably have its opinion on what the actual design of the sign was, and it would all be according to, as working with them a lot of what's in the book, that book of a
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah, there's standardized signs now.
I mean,
today.
and they are going to be doing a top coat paving all the way down to the Mass line, so
That was the other thing I wanted to mention, is that, as you know, is that this is basically, it's called maintenance in a sense, is that by putting the top coat on, they preserve the investment in the ground road bed over the years, and it will go from the Bennington line all the way to the border. They will be doing pre-engineering next week, and then they would hope to start up probably after July
There's
4th.
somebody measuring now and marking the road up.
And it-
She's been down there a couple of days now working on it.
So that's coming for people to know. It's also a good time for people to be aware of when they put a layer on top, and then people in about little drop-offs, especially into dirt driveways. Is that, they do fix that, but if people are having concerns about that, is that our district garage, and I'd be happy to call them, or anybody would, to let them know about particular ones that are important. I know you earlier wrote a letter having to do with, could they do shoulder work for bike lanes and everything, but I did ask that question, and maybe you got a response to your letter, I don't know.
Not
But
yet.
this is, mostly it's just the top coat. Doing widening shoulders is not part of this project description.
I guess my concerns would be is we're talking about signs for trucks. There's so many bicycles on this road, and people, we ought to think about signs for that stretch. It's the worst stretch for people to be watching for bicycles and so forth. Just a simple,
Slow-moving vehicle.
because the bottom line is they come up so fast. Well, you come out of that, they come up fast, and basically, if we can't widen the road, we ought to warn the people that are driving what to expect when they're approaching it, especially if we know it's used heavily for bicycle use and stuff.
So there might be another area that you want to address at the same time.
Yeah.
And whatever they do, they might say, road narrows, caution, slow moving,
Yeah,
whatever would be
yeah,
the
well,
appropriate thing.
Yeah, road narrows, caution, slow moving vehicles, bicycles, et cetera, whatever.
So
Well,
how would you like to go about drafting your concerns? I imagine you want to think about it a little bit and get some kind of a draft of a letter and then go from there.
Well, I would like, I'd like to address from, you can even go from the school
Schoolhouse Road is
to
where it
the
starts.
Bennington line. You wanna talk about getting scared to death. You take a slow-moving vehicle and go from this few miles down the road here, so it's about 4 miles.
Yeah, that's about right.
I mean, you pull onto that highway. I mean, we're a pain on the highway. I understand that. We're a slow moving.
You should explain
You
when
know.
you say slow moving vehicle. You're
Yeah.
talking about tractors,
Farm,
wagons,
well,
farm
tractors,
equipment.
bicycles, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
So, okay. And it's not only,
Well, there's large
There-
vehicles.
there's a lot of agricultural work going on from the school to the Bennington line.
You
I
betcha.
mean, you've got Armstrongs down there. You've got we're farming on both sides of Route 7. So isn't everybody else on both sides of Route 7. You're even involved in it. So all I'm saying is, and Ron, you know that if we pull onto that highway here within that many minutes, we've got cars trying to pass us, and it's treacherous. And I brought it up years ago, and I brought it up even a few times already this year, Now, and I don't know how to get that across.
Well, why don't I do this?
Okay.
Why don't I, if you'd like, why don't I call up to both the traffic shop and also talk to Bill Leach here at
Okay.
the garage and say that when I talked about it, this other concern came up
Yeah.
and ask for their suggestions. I'm sure this has happened in other places.
Oh, sure.
On the best way to address that, or to articulate it in a letter that, if you have the board
Yeah.
support, that you would be sending up, and then try to aim for what would be success rather
Well,
than.
right. Well, I don't think doing nothing is the answer. That's why I keep bringing it up. I think that we need to address it. You even talked about it, going to work 6:30 in the morning a little while ago. It was still dark out. I mean, if there was somebody side the road, you'd say, "Oh my God, I just barely missed this person." Am I
agree.
correct?
I agree.
I mean,
It's-
okay. So I mean,
There is a lot of
intersection
foot traffic
road.
now with
boy,
the store here.
oh my God, there's right. So and it's not only the slow moving equipment or whatever you want to call it through the daytime. It's just people. I mean, there is people traffic, walking.
A lot more people are on foot than they used to.
That's right.
Henry, I totally agree with you that
So-
it is the most dangerous section of the road we have around there. I don't think there's anybody who disagrees.
No, I understand
So I
it,
think-
but let's just let people know it.
So, well, let's
Well, no,
a little
address
more
it.
than do that. Let's see, what, how it could be, the risk could be mitigated, to use
That's
those
very,
phrase
very
terms.
good. Thanks.
And what tools are available most likely and what we can get. You know,
Sounds good.
That would be a good
At least we're
idea.
addressing it.
And let me start out, if you'd like, by doing a little, I'm happy to call traffic operations, Amy Gamble up there and others, and come back to you a little bit in terms of how to best put a letter together, because
Do you
that's
have
what it'll take.
Well, I'm good with that.
So ultimately, you can ask
Good,
for a
thanks.
traffic
Good with that.
study in that area, in these two areas now. In the meantime, you may or may not think of something else, and
Well, let's
Might be a warning that those airplanes come out over Route 7 down there from the track.
Low flying planes.
Low
So
flying.
they don't scare them.
you know,
Boy, I never saw that, but maybe.
So
I'd
you
like them to open up
targeted
that pull-off up there, Bill, just above Red Hot. The one on the other side of the road. Why did the state close that? Because Henry could pull over there and let that traffic by.
I don't know.
Just above, where the
Top of the
guy
hill.
fixes trucks. Red Hot.
good.
Right on the Bennington Pownal line almost.
You know where that place is? You ain't in Montpelier all year round, are you?
No. When I go to town, I go on South Stream. I don't drive this section quite as
Well,
much.
anyway, when you
He
go-
stays away from the dangerous section.
There used to be a couple of gift shops up there across the road from each other. They're both closed now. There's a but just past that garage where they fix trucks and machinery and stuff like that.
Sure.
On the other side of the road,
There was
there was a
a.
pull-off over there.
Yes, there
And
was.
they closed it.
Okay.
I mean, you take a guy like Henry or something,
Yeah.
he comes out of that road up there by the apple orchard, he's got cars backed up for forever. He can't get off the road.
This is a few hundred yards past the north of the Pownal line there.
Yeah, that's
roughly,
all.
Yeah.
Couple of
The
hundred
entrance
yards.
It
to
was
the road that
on,
goes to the cell tower.
Which
Yeah, I
side of the
was gonna say,
road?
Just south.
East
of
side,
the-
west side?
It's on the west side.
West side.
On the west side, that's what I thought, okay. So that's in Bennington.
Yes, it is.
Great, so we can ask the Bennington Select Board to write a letter to that, though. but I
Okay,
can
that's
find
all
out.
right.
I mean,
That's all right.
It's just
We don't
seems
care
that-
who, just long as it's
Good
good.
thought.
because we were talking about that because I saw Henry had everybody backed up all the way to Bennington, and I said, "Jesus, Henry, you were doing well. You had all them people backed up."
Well,
And
it
he
only
says,
takes
"But I
a
couldn't
minute.
get off the road." I says, "You're right."
Okay.
But he could have there, and half of them could have,
Yeah, they closed it. I don't know why they closed it out. It's just below the cell tower entrance.
Sure, it's in there. I know what you mean. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
No, we
for
can talk
now.
about problems on
I'd
that
like to
road
see a new
forever.
road
Yeah.
there, but we ain't gonna see that.
Well,
I would too. I think, Pine Tree Hill and that area is where the serious accidents happen. We all know people,
Yep.
family member, friends who've
yeah.
really ended
Jackson
up in awful
Crossing,
shapes
Yeah,
for,
Jackson Cross
Jackson,
Road,
Jackson,
section
that's a
is
bad
the number
one.
one accident
and,
spot.
That's the worst of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
from there right down
Yeah.
to,
Absolutely, because from the
Keith
school down
Armstrong's.
to Massachusetts, that road is
well,
beautiful.
the hill's okay, but then at Keith Armstrong, there's a couple of bad turns.
Yeah,
Well, that's serious, and I mean, you know,
Well, the state has served that, I don't know, umpteen how many times, I just don't know why that's never been fixed.
Well,
How many plans have we looked at? for
oh
that?
God.
what I can tell you is that a number of years ago, it was unfortunate, it's about 12 years ago or so, is that what happened was that the plans that they had, they put in order, they'd all approved, is they went off the books, so they would have to go back to square one, in doing it, which is unfortunate.
I think that is the most surveyed stretch of road I've ever seen in my lifetime,
Yeah, it is.
you know?
I've looked at least 3 different plans for
Yeah.
different ways to solve it.
No, I know. I think probably one of the important things to do is to look at the accident incidents for US 7. That's an area that I wouldn't be surprised if it's fairly high. You know,
Well, thanks for coming in tonight.
you're welcome. It's nice to see everybody again.
Very good.
I'll try to come when I can. It's very helpful for me to listen and to try to be a resource,
Okay.
which I think is my proper role, because you are
Well,
the elected officers for the town.
Well, I'm glad you're helping with this. I mean, you know, that's a plus.
It is. Needs to happen.
We need to address it and, don't wait too long. I'm getting old.
You were a young boy driving those wagons up through there.
Yeah.
By horse, probably.
You know, that traffic wasn't like this.
No, not even close.
I'm sure there are plenty of other things that are emerging as bills get signed.
Oh,
One
sure.
other thing I was going to mention is that I got an email from Jim Sullivan today, probably Linda or you may others. There is a meeting coming up pretty soon that has to do with the shorelands bill. When I think of Pownal, there are very few, Barber Pond may be the only one it affects. I don't think there's much risk there. The shorelands bill has to do with the towns are going to have the option of doing their own permitting of the buffers around it, or it can be assigned to the state. But that is a choice that you will have in doing it. It all depends on size of pond, and I don't know it.
Well, yeah.
I think the other one is possibly Thompson's Pond might be of enough size, but those are probably the 2 largest bodies. This is largely about much bigger ponds and Lake Champlain, and it's really about getting phosphorus out before the EPA comes and says, you're spending this much money whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So that's mostly about it. That bill went several years, but that does affect towns. There are other pieces, I'm sure League of City and Town reports to you, gives you things, you have questions and more things, please let me know. I'm sure there are other pieces I'll think of when I get in the car and drive home.
Yep.
But I'm around, call me anytime.
Okay,
Thank
Okay.
you.
very good.
Anything else, guys?
Make a
Nah.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're out.